Hello, everyone. This is your main man Blackfoot, and I hope everyone out there is feeling fine today. You guys and girls, do me a favor and hit that like button. It would be greatly appreciated, as well as that subscribe me button, as well as donations, contributions would be greatly appreciated. As a matter of fact, I will leave my email in the description so you can personally email me if you have any more questions, as well as I will leave my Cash App in the description below. So, with that being said, let's dive on in. We heard the expression, if it would have been a snake, it would have bit you, and this is what is happening right here today, right in front of your face. All the answers is right here. I'm presenting to you right in front of your face with a picture, more or less, right? And I was talking to my girl, and I was talking to her about the level of education with my subscriber or the people who are listening to me. So that is where I'm kind of hesitant as far as saying that because, which really it is, all the answers is right there in front of you, but it all depends on the level of your education. And I find myself battling a balancing act between the biblical, historical, and bringing it all into some type of cohesive understanding, whereas even the layman as well as the scholarly can understand it, right? But see, that is the thorn in it, right there, because basically what I am talking about is the acts of what has happened between the Old Testament and New Testament, right? There's a lot of things that happen in between there. And a lot of people do not talk about that. And I am talking about it right now. But I have a lot of other slides that I'm going to present later. All depends of people who are really appreciative of what I am presenting or what I have been presenting throughout the years. I have been doing this for such a long time, and there's a lot of my videos I have deleted, and some I have put up, and all depends now where we are going today. Because what I am presenting now is everything is coming to a full head now. All of my lessons and my videos is coming to a full fruition of intellectuals, right? So I want to, and if you appreciate certain things, you're going to hit the like button, share, and more importantly, donate, because I'm not doing this on a whim. You know, all of this is like coming to a full head, and I want to know where you guys and girls at, and do you appreciate what I am saying and presenting to you, because this is very important to you, right? And all depends on where you at in life, far as spiritually and where you want to go after that, because this here, it's kind of complex, because I don't want to broadcast all my information over this party line. If you guys and girls know what I mean. I got to keep some things to myself, but I can email you some things that, should I say, off the beaten path, you know, because, I don't want my works to go just like, oh, like I already knew that, which a lot of people do not, because what I'm presenting to you is such a very important phenomenon, but yet and still is right there in front of your face. It's right there in the books and whatnot. But I know a lot of people don't have time to read and try to dissect it. And the other part is emotions. A lot of people that, they go to work 9 to 5, they work night shift, and this and that, the other, and they go to church or mosque or whatever the case, synagogue, and they depends on the preacher, the priest, or the rabbi or whatnot to give them the information that they need, because they got a busy day, they got to pay rent, bills, deal with the children or whatnot, and they want to know that when they go into these certain mosques or synagogues or church, they want to know that their spirituality is intact, more or less. That's what they want to know when it's all said and done. Am I a good person? Because I'm dependent on these people who are the leadership of these so-called religious houses or institutions, whatever you want to call them. People are depending on them to give them the right information. Because they depending on their soul, and if they're a good person, and do they got to stand before the Most High. All these things are kind of an afterthought when they having a busy life and they go to these different places. They want to know if is that secured. Is that secured? Is this person right in front of me is who is tickling my ears, have my full attention? Is what they saying out of their mouth, if it's correct? Have they been studying the word? Has they been studying the history? Is it all a lie? Is it true? These are this is the conundrum that a lot of people got to deal with. And I'm sorry to say, or should I say, sadly to say, that a lot of it's a lie. It is a lie. Now I know you must be saying to yourself, like, who is this guy right here to tell me what is true, what is not? I don't see his face. I go to my rabbi and I go to my preacher and my imam and whatever the case may be. And they regurgitate these things and they be saying, they've been studying for years and so on, this and that, the other. But I must say they are wrong. This picture right here, as far as, let me back up. I digress. Let me say this here. Christianity is where I'm at today with this, right? I'm just going to start right there. Now, I'm not going to give, as the old saying go, let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. So I'm not going to do that. But what I am giving you right here in front of you is half of the cherry on top, But there's breadcrumbs behind this picture. And it's very, it's a very, should I say, crazy understanding. But yet it is simple to understand. During this time right here between the Old Testament and New Testament, you must understand that there was no TV, there was no internet, and I believe that only the rich or the well-do had enough money to get books to read. A lot of people was ignorant during those days. And during the Greek days, they had a lot of theater, a lot of philosophical understanding about what it is and what it's not and how the gods believe and this and that, the other. You must consider that in itself. That in itself is a phenomenon, So how did they entertain themselves? They entertain themselves with the mind. And the mind, it's a powerful thing. It's so powerful that you can believe in anything when you contemplate on something so much. You become it. You absorb it. And that's what the Greeks have done with one book. And it was called the Old Testament. And within that Old Testament, there was a lot of things that has came out of the Old Testament. Different cults, different sets, different beliefs, all type of different mayhem, all different types of philosophy, all came out of that Old Testament. It's almost like you grab a glass cup and you smash it on the ground and the glass, shatters into hundreds of pieces and whatnot. And a lot of people come and grab a piece of that broken glass and they all get the philosophizing on it and this and that, the other, different cults, different beliefs, different entourage, different sets, different charismatic people. They all grab this one little piece and they all believe that it's the piece of pieces. It's the glass of glass when it has been shattered into 1,000 pieces. And this is what they did, ladies and gentlemen, just for, hyperbole's sake. That's what they did with the Old Testament, because the Old Testament, in contrast to the Greek, they couldn't see God. God, the Most High, is invisible. But see, the Greek understanding was that, there's a Greek within every culture. If you looked at my last video, I explained that. That's what the Greeks believed. They believed that within every culture there is a Greek inside of it. It just needs to be brought out. And that's what they did with the Old Testament, ladies and gentlemen. And what I am telling you, like I said in my last video, is very important that you understand that. And this is where my scholarly work kicks in. This is when you need to appreciate what I am telling you, and your contributions and all of that needs to bring forth not only to me but for yourself. That when you appreciate something, you just don't want to take. You want to give something back because it cleanses your soul and lets that person know, including your soul, know that, yeah, I'm doing something right. That's what you're supposed to do as an adult and as a human being. That when you appreciate something, you're supposed to have the humanity to say, you know what, I got to give this person something. That's what it is. It's a give and take, hand over fist. That's what makes you a human being. That's what makes you a person with integrity, And this is what I'm giving you. I'm giving you information for integrity, so you to so you can believe and know in your hearts of heart that what you are looking at right now has snowballed into so many different churches and so many into people's homes. It has been terrorized inside people's minds and have been brought up from generation to generation. And it is a Greek Borg of the Old Testament. But more importantly, I want you to look at that picture real carefully. Look at it. You know who he is. You know exactly who he is. But more importantly, who created this Greek Borg of the Old Testament? That's what's important. You know, that right there, ladies, gentlemen, is the cherry on top. Now, I will get that information out down the line, maybe not. You can email me your donations, your contributions, your likes and subscribing and whatnot. Well, let me know if you appreciate this work right here, this information, because this is something that you never have seen before. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the la creme of la creme. This is the information that is between the Old Testament and the New Testament. This is something that you really need to know if you really want to help your spirituality, your understanding. You want to get a clear understanding of what is happening and what has happened and what is future tense is going to happen. It is all up to you. You are an adult to make that decision on your own. Like the scripture said, you have free will. And we all going to be judged on that right there. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you go. You know what to do. Take care. Talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.